Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching Beyond What Is One. I'm Jyotsna Kumar, and this is World DNA. Let's begin with the headlines.
Didn't hang anyone, they canceled the hangings. That had a big impact.
U.S. President Donald Trump thanks Iran for canceling the executions of over 800 protesters amid a crackdown after threatening military action to protect demonstrators.
I may put a tariff on countries if they don't go along with Greenland, because we need Greenland for national security.
Donald Trump warns that he could slap tariffs on countries that do not support his Greenland takeover plans as U.S. Congress members visit Copenhagen to give their backing for Denmark and its autonomous Arctic island. U.S. aviation authorities issued notices Friday warning airlines to exercise caution in the airspace over Mexico and Central America due to its military activities. First flight carrying Indian students and pilgrims from Tehran lands in Delhi following Indian government's advisory for nationals to leave the country amid tensions. MEA is monitoring the situation.
And we are definitely now into the first steps of a true transition.
Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado says her country is starting a true transition to democracy and will become free with support from the United States and President Donald Trump. Donald Trump announces Gaza Board of Peace, which he will chair, taps Marco Rubio and Tony Blair as founding members. Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are also part of 7-member founding executive board. Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara issues decree declaring Kurdish a national language in an apparent gesture of goodwill towards a minority following clashes in recent days. Uganda's opposition National Unity Platform says its leader Bobby Wine has been forcibly taken away in an army helicopter from his home a day after elections marred by reports of violence. Brazil's President Lula da Silva has and EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen met ahead of signing a Denmark EU-Mercosur trade pact, creating the world's largest free trade zone and ending 25 years of negotiations, boosting jobs and investment. The U.S. President Donald Trump has issued a fresh threat to Greenland and those countries that do not back the U.S. taking control of the Arctic island. While addressing a health roundtable at the White House, Trump says he may impose trade tariffs on countries that do not support his plans to take over Greenland, part of the territory of NATO ally Denmark. However, it is still not clear which countries will be affected.
And I may do that for Greenland, too. I may put a tariff on countries if they don't go along with Greenland, because we need Greenland for national security. So I may do that. I'll give you a little, I'll take you out of that. In fact, that'll end up being the story. But actually, this is a much bigger story because we're reducing healthcare by numbers that you haven't seen.
The comments showed Trump considering applying tariffs, one of his favorite tools for leveraging his executive power over countries, to increasingly aggressive efforts to acquire Greenland for the U.S. The Trump administration has previously said it is weighing multiple options, including utilizing the U.S. military in order to take over the Danish territory. Trump asserts it is essential that America own Greenland, even though the U.S. already maintains a military base there because of national security concerns posed by China and Russia. The White House has also said that the U.S. is considering making an offer to buy the Arctic island. But Greenland and Denmark have repeatedly insisted that the territory is not for sale and has no wish to be absorbed into America. The European Union has positioned itself as a primary defender of Greenlandic sovereignty. Over 10 European countries have backed Greenland. France, Germany, Italy, Poland, Spain, and the United Kingdom have issued a rare joint statement on January 6, declaring that Greenland belongs to its people, and only Denmark and Greenland can decide its future. Finland, Iceland, Norway, and Sweden released a separate statement which supported Greenland's right to self-determination. Now, Europe has launched a rapid two-day military deployment to Greenland. The deployment is being seen as a limited force, but its message seems loud. Germany has sent 3 reconnaissance personnel. France has deployed 15 mountain warfare specialists. Sweden, Norway, and Britain have sent small teams. The mission is amp up the Arctic defense. Denmark says it is about operating in extreme conditions in coordination with NATO allies. However, Poland has drawn a red line, saying that it will not send troops. Now, apart from these nations, China and Russia have also maintained that Greenland is a territory of Denmark. And for more details on the story, our correspondent Susan Terani sent us this report from New York.
President Trump says that the United States may impose tariffs on countries that don't back his push to control Greenland, which he claims is vital for America's national security to counter Russia and China. Denmark and Greenland firmly reject any U.S. takeover of the territory, insisting that Greenland's future is decided by its people and that NATO already provides security there. Separately, Denmark's Joint Arctic Command invited the United States to join Operation Arctic Endurance military exercises in Greenland aimed at deterring Russia and strengthening NATO's northern defenses, as the Arctic commanders there say that there is currently no immediate Chinese or Russian military threat to the island. All of this is happening as a bipartisan congressional delegation headed to Greenland to ease tensions. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
Now, Raza Pahlavi, Iran's exiled crown prince, has upped the stakes amid the ongoing unrest in the country. He gave a speech in Washington, D.C., vowing to return to his homeland. Over the last few weeks, Pahlavi has repeatedly urged Iranians to overthrow the country's theocratic government. Now, he has also outlined his vision for a post-Islamic Republic Iran. Pahlavi said that Iran, as it existed before 1979, will rise again from the ashes. The deposed crown prince promised to take Iran out of what he called terrorism, extremism, and poverty, and towards a peace-loving, flourishing nation.
Today, as my compatriots call on me for leadership, I reaffirm my lifelong pledge by stepping in to lead the movement that will take back our country from the anti-Iranian hostile force that occupies it and kills its children. I will return to Iran. I am uniquely positioned to ensure a stable transition.
Pahlavi said his vision for Iran stands on 4 pillars. He promised a non-nuclear future for the country. He also vowed to end support for militant groups. Well, he did not take any names, but he was most likely referring to Iran's axis of resistance, which includes Hamas, the Houthis, and Hezbollah. The deposed crown prince also promised to restore and normalize ties with Israel and the U.S. He also promised to revive Iran's economy by tapping on country's vast oil resources. Now, all of this comes against a backdrop of unrest inside Iran. Protests are being put down using guns. Reports say that more than 2,000 people have been killed. And an internet shutdown continues to isolate the Iranian public from the global community.
I believe the president is a man of his word, as I said before. How many days it might take, who knows? Hopefully sooner than later. But as I said before, regardless of whether action is taken or not, we as Iranians have no choice to carry on the fight. We're halfway across the river. There's no turning back. We will continue. The quicker the action happens, the more lives can be saved, and the sooner we can see the regime's collapse. So timing is, of course, important. And I would still believe in the president's commitment that help is on the way.
The Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has thrown her support behind U.S. President Donald Trump's call for new elections in Venezuela soon. While addressing the media, she echoed the U.S. position that it is necessary to restore democracy in Venezuela. However, she stopped short of offering any concrete timeline or date for when it might occur. She also described the post-Maduro period as the start of a democratic shift in the crisis-ridden nation and expressed confidence that democratic governance will be restored.
We are definitely now into the first steps of a true transition to democracy that will have not only immense impact in the lives of all Venezuelans, those who stayed in our country, those who have been forced to flee around the world, but that will have immense impact in the region, in our hemisphere, and I will say even further in the whole world. Because what we have proven is that a people determined to be free, even without resources, without money, without the free press supporting, even facing the most cruel tyranny, can prevail. Because the force of conviction and the force of love is the strongest of all.
The Nobel Prize laureate has said that Caracas is poised to become U.S.'s strongest ally ever once what she described as a stable democratic transition is completed. She also took aim at interim leader Delcy Rodriguez, portraying her as aligned with the Russian, Iranian, and Chinese regimes rather than with the Venezuelan people. She further added that Rodriguez is merely carrying out orders and does not act of her own free will or represent an independent political agreement.
And I want to insist on this. Delcy Rodriguez, yes, she's a communist. She's the main ally and representation of the Russian regime, the Chinese and Iranians. But that's not the Venezuelan people, and that's not the armed forces as well. So I am profoundly, profoundly confident that we will have an orderly transition. This is a complex phase we are right now. Some of the dirty work is being done by them. But then the result of a stable transition will be a proud Venezuela who is going to be the best ally the United States has ever had in the Americas.
Meanwhile, President Donald Trump said he will continue talking with Venezuelan opposition leader after she presented him with her Nobel Peace Prize medal during a White House meeting yesterday, calling the act a very nice gesture. Trump described Machado as a very fine woman and indicated plans for further discussions as the two navigate prospects for Venezuela's political future.
Ms. Machado, how did your meeting go with the president?
She offered it to me. I thought it was very nice. She said, you know, you've ended 8 wars, and nobody deserves this prize more than in history than you do. And I thought it was a very nice gesture. And by the way, I think she's a very fine woman, and we'll be talking again.
Now, for the controversial move by Machado, Norwegian Nobel Committee has issued a statement that the Nobel Prize and the laureate are inseparable, adding that the prize, its honor and recognition remain linked to the laureate designated by the committee. It further added that even if the medal or diploma later comes into someone else's possession, it does not alter who was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. All right, moving on, the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency wants to, quote-unquote, know the truth about China. The CIA has put out that message across its social media handles, and the post is in Mandarin. So it seems that the CIA is using social media to recruit intelligence assets in China. The American spy agency put up this video instructing Chinese people on how they can establish secure contact with the U.S. The CIA says it is looking for people who know and can tell the truth. It has urged people in China to download American or Western VPNs, web browsers, set up an email account with a Western company, and then submit information to the CIA. This isn't the first time that the CIA is trying to recruit assets in China using social media. The CIA did something similar last year as well. And back then, the agency had specifically asked for information on China's defense industry and on the country's economic, fiscal, or trade policies. But this time, it says it just wants to know the truth. Well, when asked about last year's messages, CIA Director John Ratcliffe had said that it was the agency's job to steal foreign secrets. Another CIA official had stated that the videos were proof that the CIA was doing what it's supposed to do. The CIA was formed in 1947 in the immediate aftermath of the World War II. It superseded America's Office of Strategic Services, which was active during the war. The CIA was formed amid tensions between the U.S. and Soviet Union after the Second World War, eventually playing a major role in the Cold War between the two superpowers. The CIA's purpose has always been to gather intelligence on U.S. enemies. But in 1953, it also expanded to orchestrating coup. The CIA played an integral role in ousting Iran's then Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh after he had nationalized the Anglo-Iranian oil company. The CIA's actions ended up strengthening the power of the Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, which would pave the way for the 1979 Islamic Revolution in the country. After Iran, the CIA ended up orchestrating several coups in Latin America. It also unsuccessfully tried to assassinate Cuban leader Fidel Castro numerous times. Cuba says Castro faced over 600 assassination attempts throughout his life. Then the CIA was responsible for a lion's share of them. Now, the CIA also sponsored the Bay of Pigs invasion of Cuba in 1960, which was also a failure. Well, officially today, the CIA focuses on counterintelligence, counterterrorism, cyber intelligence, and providing warnings about security threats. It has an executive office and 5 branches or directorates which carry out these tasks. The directorates of the digital innovation, analysis operations, support, and science and technology. The CIA also has mission centers all over the world, including a specific one for China. But the CIA does not just target Beijing. In 2022, 2023, and 2024, the agency was actively trying to recruit Russian assets. And again, via social media. This was during the previous Joe Biden administration. Well, so it seems recruiting spies and defectors via social media has become a commonplace for the CIA over the years. But how many Chinese people will risk Beijing's ire to tell the CIA, quote unquote, about the truth of China? Moving on, the Indian Air Force gets a shot in the arm as the country's Defense Procurement Board has reportedly approved the proposal to purchase 114 Rafale fighter jets from French manufacturer Dassault aviation. Reports suggest that the proposal will be taken up for clearance at the Defense Acquisition Council. Once the proposal is cleared for approval, the acquisition is expected to bridge the gap between the Indian Air Force's current and required operational squadron strength. The Indian Air Force currently operates 36 Rafale jets, which is well below its overall squadron strength. The IAF recommended the procurement of the Rafales owing to its experience in operating the aircraft. Now, as per the reports, the latest proposal also includes integration of Indian weapons system on the aircraft and include provisions for transfer of technology to enable production in India. The Defense Procurement Board is headed by the Defense Secretary, which clears procurement cases and later sends the same to the Defense Acquisition Council for further approval. Well, according to the reports, if the deal is approved, the acquisition would take the total number of Rafale fighter jets in India's defense inventory to 176. Now, the world is entering what the World Economic Forum calls an age of competition, where rising power rivalries, trade tensions, and strategic standoffs are reshaping global stability. In its Global Risks Report 2026, the WEF has warned that geo-economic confrontation has become the single biggest threat facing the world next year. Now, take a look at our next report for more on this.
The World Economic Forum's Global Risks Report 2026 warns the world is entering an age of competition, with global power rivalries and strategic standoffs now the most severe near-term risk. Based on a survey of over 1,300 leaders across government, business and civil society, the report finds geo-economic confrontation has overtaken armed conflict and extreme weather as the top global risk for 2026. Nearly one-third of respondents see either geo-economic confrontation or state-based armed conflict as the most likely trigger for a global crisis. Just 1% expect calm over the next 2 years, while half anticipate turbulence, painting a picture of a world sitting on a precipice. Economic risks show the sharpest rise in concern, with leaders warning of potential downturns, rising inflation, asset bubbles and high debt burdens amid volatile markets. Misinformation and disinformation rank among the top short-term risks, alongside deepening societal polarization. Technology risks are also accelerating, with adverse outcomes of artificial intelligence jumping from 30th place last year into the top tier of long-term concerns. The report warns AI-driven labor displacement could worsen inequality, reduce consumer demand, and fuel social unrest. Meanwhile, environmental risks remain critical over the long term. Extreme weather is the top 10-year risk, with insured losses from natural catastrophes projected at $107 billion in 2025, exceeding $100 billion for the sixth consecutive year. For India, cybersecurity emerges as the top national risk, followed by income and wealth inequality, insufficient public services, economic slowdown, and state-based conflict. Globally, inequality is identified as the most interconnected long-term risk, linking economic stress, social division, and political instability. The WEF warns that a retreat from multilateralism and declining trust are weakening the world's ability to respond to shared threats like climate change, pandemics, and financial shocks. While none of these risks are inevitable, the report stresses that cooperation between governments, businesses, and civil society will be critical to building resilience in an increasingly fragmented global order. Business Bureau, WION, World is One.
All right, with that, we call a wrap to World Day for today. News and updates is lined up on the other side of this very short break. Keep watching WION, World is One.
From strong human development to resilient infrastructure, Kerala has built a model that balances growth with stability. Today, Kerala is opening wider to the world, welcoming global partnerships across technology, industry, tourism and sustainable development, offering robust opportunities. At the World Economic Forum 2026 in Davos,